Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
Our partners at BetOnline continue to be the number one source for all your sports betting needs and sports betting info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including NBA Summer League, Major League Baseball, the latest fighting news, and even next season's early NFL futures. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code, that's Bleav, BLEAV, to get the bonus and get in to the action. Bet online, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Markieff Dash here with former legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Gentlemen, how you guys doing?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Just watching Summer League. Actually, I'm glad you guys didn't bet on that game that I bet on last week. I think it was the us versus it was the first Summer League game, which
Memphis.
Yeah, it was the Memphis game. Yeah, which we came back in that one, but yeah, the money line betting on them straight up was not a good call.
Well, I don't think we covered anyway. I think we were at +3 and we lost by 4, right?
It was weird because we were +3, and then right before the game, like our line completely changed. We became -2, so we were like the heavy favorite.
So what you're saying is I need to listen to Teja whenever I start betting.
Teja's he doesn't really bet on all the sports. He only picks his sports that he bets on. I kind of bet on everything.
Oh yeah. So you should definitely listen to me. Then.
I'm not gonna bet on everything.
So basically, if there's nothing
Do a
on
little football and a little basketball. That's it. I mean, I can't. I like some other sports, but I can't bet on them. So
you don't
I will
bet on
eventually place my first sports bet. Eventually, I've never bet on sports, but think about it. Now that I live in Vegas, it's enticing.
I was gonna say, you say that in Vegas, you're gonna have wise guys knocking on your door, dude. You gotta be careful with that.
I will say there's a hierarchy with my bets. I go with NFL, college football, NBA. That's all in the same kind of realm for me. But then everything else, the dead period right now, you got MLB, you got Major League Lacrosse, Premier Lacrosse League, you got tennis, you got all sorts of things you can. NBA Summer League now, all sorts of things you can have fun with.
Summer League. I can't do that. This is like the betting off season for me.
Okay, so before we get into the show tonight, I saw something before I came on today. It was that Andre Iguodala was talking about Rasheed Wallace, and he said if Rasheed Wallace played in nowadays NBA, he'd be a top 5 player, and he'd be better than Giannis.
Who said this?
Andre Iguodala said this. That Rasheed would be better than Giannis if he played in modern times.
I mean, I don't really get into guy play then, play now. The one thing I do know is that Rasheed Wallace is one of the most skilled and best power forwards I've ever played against. I can say that. Now, I'm not going to get into what he would do in different eras, but I do know for a fact, from what I've seen from a skill standpoint, knowledge of the game, talking on the court, defensively, well-rounded player. He's one of the best power forwards I've seen that don't get talked about. If I had to put a guy in front of him that don't get talked about a lot, would be Derek Coleman. Those two guys, I think you can ask a lot of the top power forwards about those guys, and I bet you they would confirm the talent and skill that they have.
Yeah, because you can put those guys like Iguodala said, you can put those guys playing now. I mean, the way they play generationally. That game could be picked up anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Rasheed, I think what you see a guy that's pushing 7 foot and very skilled. He can score on the block, both hands, shoot the 3, play defense. So I think that his versatility for now, I mean, guy that could play some power forward, play center. You could try to put him on the Anthony Davis. You could try to put him on the Joel. I mean, that versatility and then being able to make shots and you can give him the ball and he can ISO one-on-one and score. I see why Andre would say that based on his skill set. But, like I said, I don't really get into what they would be, but the talent was there.
I think another guy that you could say that about too, in a lot of ways, is Lamar Odom. I think he would excel way more in today's game than he did then.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of guys. I mean, I think that when people look at, that time that those guys play versus now, it's with the freedom of movement, it's a lot of guys that didn't have maybe as much success because of that rule and that aggressiveness. The more freedom of movement, that you were giving guys back then, the more guys would have numbers probably would have been better. But I think that the fact that the way the rules were in, you had guys, that was probably a little stronger and not as talented. They were able to kind of get their way against some guy that maybe wasn't as physical, but he was really extremely talented. So that physicality kind of, how can I say, evened the playing field a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's a lot of examples like that. I Bleav that, and that's where a lot of people say the game was different. It's different from the standpoint, but I personally think that any guy can play in any era because they're professionals. It's just that how effective you are or your role may change. Superstars, and I don't think it's that a lot of them, but the superstars I think could be superstars in any era.
Do you think some of that's coaching stubbornness too? Like in NFL, the same way. Like you had a lot of coaches that used a guy within their system, and they wouldn't kind of go out of their coaching system to excel at a guy's skill set that he's really good at. Like, well, you're going to play my small forward position. I know you're really good at that, but
I think it was really the skill set of whoever was causing or, whoever was getting double teams or making the plays easier for you. And usually people play inside out because back then, if you had the guy one-on-one, you either had him on the block where it could catch and score before the double team came. A lot of ISOs on the perimeter, guys were able to do it, but it was easier to double team those guys and kind of take the ball out of their hand. So that's why the inside out was there, the inside out. And then you put teams in rotation. When you put teams in rotation, then you can penetrate the rotation, or you can offensive rebound on the rotation, or you can knock down shots on the rotation. But it was all, started by a guy being able to score on the block. And then you get guys like Michael Jordan who didn't really get on the block as much, but catching it on the elbow was still looked at, sort of the triangle offense. It was still looked at as the block because it was a quick catch and shoot, a quick catch and play where, you could play away from the double team or you can get movement on the weak side. So it was harder to double team in that triangle offense. But you also needed a Michael Jordan or Kobe to make it work even better. But that's why I just think that, it's just different. I mean, guys would have found a way just like they did in the 90s, from the 80s and the 2000s, and like you find a way. That's what I think, that the players and the coaches, executives, people in the NBA, you find a way, and based on the rules that they put in, every time they put something in, people have come with a way to succeed with it. So I think that that's the elevation of the game. And I just think if a guy putting a guy into now, it's different. It would be different for him. Just like putting a guy in the past, it would be different. So you would have to still have to. That's why I say guys can still be successful. It just may look different. Like, you think a guy like Steph Curry. They have
to evolve a little bit.
But
for sure.
With the way the rules were, it would be hard for Steph to come and shoot those deep shots with guys allowed to ride on your hip. So I think the knowledge that Steph has in his game, he would be effective, but he probably would do it differently because he would, be a little more Richie Miller, where you get more freedom and catch and shoot and run on screens more so than coming down and shooting with someone on your hip. So that's why I'm saying, like, I think you could be successful, but it'd be just different because, the rules kind of put you in a situation where those guys find out what works for them. And, guys are too good. They're not going to just make bad plays or bad shots. So you adjust. And that's what I think, they're doing. I mean, I just think it's silly to think that a guy couldn't do something before and now he can. Like, you can't compare the times and the players. I just know that they're all NBA players, and I enjoy watching them all.
Yeah. People can just go on and on with the whole era talk. It's too hard because the game's the same, but it's different from era to era.
Just clickbait. I mean, just get somebody to click on what you say, how you feel. I mean,
or like Ray Allen arguing with a bunch of kids at a camp.
I mean, it's really irrelevant. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, but Ray can feel however he feels. Who's to say he's wrong? Like, he played with all them guys.
That's the beauty of it, right? That's the beauty of it.
I mean, I just people argue with the guy that actually did it. He may actually have a little knowledge.
True, but doesn't personal relationship with that guy that you played with play into that? Maybe it isn't just I'm not saying Ray. I'm just saying sometimes there are bad feelings beef between players, and they don't come out and say, "Oh, I had beef with so and so," but it comes out in their opinion about their team.
I understand what you're saying, but Michael Jordan did say he felt Isaiah Thomas was the second best point guard ever.
Yeah,
and we know his beef there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
that's after a long time.
I'm saying we know his beef there, though, right? Yeah. But I get it. I mean, but excuse me. I do understand what you're saying. And I do think that when people don't have a great relationship with someone, they tend probably to give them less credit. Mm-hmm. Yes, I do feel that. But I've yet to see a guy say a guy couldn't play. He wasn't good. Maybe he wasn't as good as maybe the next guy. But when you one thing I can say is when you're in that league and you're playing in that league, you know who the top players are. Mm-hmm. Guys in the league know. Yeah. People can fight it and they can say whatever they want, but when you're in there, it's just in anybody else's profession. You can go to whatever your profession may be. When you go into that building, if you're the best, you know who's the best in your profession. You know who it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, other people may have an opinion and want to argue it and pull out stats and pull out all these other stuff, but at the end of the day, when you're in there, Yeah.
Like we're diehard MB fans, obviously. We're Sixer fans, but that's one of the moments I knew that how highly regarded he was in the league. When they were going all-star games, they were going ISO with Embiid, like just give the ball to Joel. That's the cream of the crop saying no one can stop him. We know that because we play against him all the time. Yeah. It's almost like the game admitting like how good he was. I was like, man, Embiid really is that guy, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's a hard matchup, for people Mm-hmm. Sometimes people even have a guy that can defend them really well, but they still, you still know.
Ball don't lie.
Yeah. It's kind of a good transition here, going from like a top player and a guy that a lot of people are doubting is a top player. But if you look at his stats last year, he looked pretty solid. But talking heads don't think so. So we're gonna transition to James Harden here. So there were strong sources that said Harden's contract was pretty much done last week, and he's going to take a 1-year deal in the low mid 30s with the second year as a player option. So it's a 2-part question here. Now that it's official, what do you think about Harden's supposed deal for the 2 years? And are you worried that it has not been announced yet? So there's 2 questions there for you guys.
Worried that it's not been announced? No, I'm not worried. I just think that, there are times when you may come to an agreement and maybe it's a few things that need to be worked out, or maybe some other things need to be addressed before you officially sign. So I could see as maybe one of those things. As far as him signing the deal, I mean, I think he signed a deal that he's comfortable with and that helped the team. So that didn't surprise me. I think that he understands that he's probably in the position right now that, he can get a deal, but to get a deal and still win and get a deal that, he really got to perform to increase it. But I do think that, he's in a good position to, stay at the level that he's in.
Teja, what were your thoughts on the other deal?
Based on the reports, so a $15 million pay cut, which would bring him around $32 million with the player option for the second year. So it's pay cut to allow Philly to sign some good players, make some upgrades to the roster, sort of a prove it deal for him as well. If he kills it next year, I could see Philly going ahead and giving him like a 3-year extension for good money, which he would, deserve at that point, right? If he looks like shit, then, well, I guess he'll just opt into that 1-year player deal and play in the mid-30s. And if that does happen, Tobias will expire the next year. And this is all before we even have to extend Maxey. So it could be great planning just on Norrie's part. If Harden looks great, then he's worth it. If he doesn't look as good or the Harden we've seen as who he is, then we get to get out of about $80 million, $70-something million of contract between him and Harris. I'm not worried it hasn't been announced yet. I'd say I'm more curious. Maybe they're working on some incentives. Many believe it's just because he might take maybe a bigger cut, see who they can maybe get in the trade to base it on his numbers to see if he could sign what he signs for to make the trade happen. There's a lot of speculation right now, but I think it'll get announced soon. But it all sounds really positive.
Yeah, the one that I heard last week was the potentially Eric Gordon, trying to make room for Eric Gordon because that's one of his boys, to bring him on as well. But apparently Houston actually got a lot of offers for Eric Gordon, and they're turning down a lot of people's offers. So maybe it's not that easy to get Eric Gordon.
That'd have to be a big pay cut. I heard he didn't take around a $20 million pay cut for that. So I don't know if he's going to sign for the 20s, but
yeah,
who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, like you said, it's all speculation at this point. But when it does get announced, I'll be sure everyone, because there's a lot of Sixers fans who are worried that there's been a kind of snag in the whole thing, which I don't think that's the case at all.
Not if he's at the gym practicing with Cassell and Maxey. It's like that shows you how he's in. Whether he's signed on a dotted line yet, that's just maybe formality at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that video with Cassell was great. He was working on the mid-rangers. He must be watching our show.
Yeah, he was. That was a mid-range skill practice. That was great.
Good.
Yeah, if he locks out that mid-ranger, we talked about on the show. That his game's set with our squad.
Yeah,
it unlocks a whole other part of his game. That's crazy to say that about Harden.
It's going to be there. Teams, especially in the playoff, like I've said before, a lot of teams in the playoffs, they go to that shot. They hit it consistently. So if that's something he goes to, and I know that he can do it, I think he'll benefit, and the team will too.
It's like a midi step back.
No.
Drive, little step back.
I don't know if you need all the stepping back, but
that's his comfort zone. Even when he has an open catch and shoot, he still doesn't step.
You don't need you may need a little fade here and there, but you need to do a step back on the mid range. Just pass.
He loves that step though. I think that's like a part of his mechanic now at this point.
I one question on that because everyone was loving Cassell's coaching on that, and I think Cassell, if anything, God forbid anything happens with Doc Rivers next year, if we do get rid of him, if we have an early playoff exit, I hope Cassell is in consideration for the job. But is that normal for assistant coaches to be with players during the off season like that, doing stuff like that? Is that normal?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't spend the whole summer with them. They were probably all at maybe say for summer league practices. So they come and watch and then they work out. But some of the coaches usually go to wherever the players are and spend some time with them. So that's normal. I don't know how much time they actually spend with them, not all summer, but they do go and work out with them. That's very common.
Yeah.
Probably even more common now than it was when I played. But probably the end of my career is when teams started really going to the player. It was kind of the player coming to the city. When I played, if you were away for the summer, you would probably come back here and there to meet up with some coaches, and it was really to see if you were in shape. But now it's kind of the reverse. They kind of go to the player more so than the player coming, because a lot of those players don't live in where they play.
Yeah,
I think I did read that he's been spending a lot of time with Cassell, part of his workout regimen, kind of Harden. That is
good. That's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. That's a perfect guy to work with. Okay, so
talk about mid range.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Come on. He's like, dude, it's there. If anyone can see it, it's because I was like, dude, it's there. It's there. I see it. I'd feast in that.
Okay, so talking about our roster, and this is something we kind of talked about last week as far as like kind of the roster construction, how many players we have over the 15-player max. But now that we've signed Michael Foster Jr. to, I think it's called the Exhibit 10 contract, which it's a non-guarantee contract. But now with it
allows him to, if they release him, he can go to our G League team.
Gotcha. Okay.
No matter who has his rights. He can go to our G League team, and he gets more money for coming to camp. So it's a way of kind of giving him more money, and then kind of being able to keep him really a part of your organization. Gotcha. Instead of like if you happen to let him go, he doesn't go to another team or another team's G League team.
So you're paying for the rights then, basically.
Basically.
Okay.
But you get him to go to camp, and you're able to keep him under your umbrella. Because say for instance, he may go into the draft, or somebody else may draft him, and they may own his rights. But as long as he's under the Exhibit 10, he can go play for us.
Mm.
So if that expires after 1 year and we don't sign him to another one, if he goes back into the G League, he either got to re-enter the draft or go to whichever team has his rights.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, he's looked all right during summer league too. So hopefully something happens with that. And we got a good G League team, Jameer Nelson running the Blue Coats down there in Delaware.
Nice.
So anyway, with that, we now have 2 players over the roster limit with the signing of Michael Foster Jr. So a lot of things I'm reading, 2-for-1 trades looking pretty likely, and a lot of things we heard about been a lot of 2-for-1s. Because of how hard it is to acquire Eric Gordon, we have some other likely candidates that are out there that have been kind of, quote unquote, been shopped around. So I want to ask you guys who you prefer. So obviously, the more money that players owe, the more players we have to be traded in this scenario. But some of the names have been shopped around. Reggie Bullock, who's owed $10 million. Justin Holiday owed $6 million. Pat Beverley, $13 million. Malik Beasley, $15 million. Alec Burks, $10 million, and Josh Hart, $13 million. So of those guys, as far as a potential 2-for-1 deal, which of those guys would you say, like, oh yeah, that'd be a guy we should go for instead, in lieu of an Eric Gordon type?
It's kind of tough, man. Some of those guys are very similar. I mean, I think Reggie Bullock has, maybe the last few years he's kind of excelled in his role. If I had to kind of guess, and I don't remember all the names you just said, but I would say Reggie Bullock fits, especially at his salary. If his salary, is it lower than Malik's and Josh Hart's?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely with a lower salary. I would say, the team that's kind of like built to win now or win, next year. I mean, I think that fits, and you're able to get him at a lower salary. I would probably say that one.
Teja,
Dallas apparently loves Thibault too, so that's why we keep getting that speculation with Dallas for Bullock. But I think a lot of it comes down to I don't know if you know what I'm going to say, but probably take a wild guess. Huh?
I think we do. I think we know you want to ship Thibault out for peanuts. So
I was going to say it all comes down if you want to keep Thibault or not. If you want to keep Thibault, then you trade Furk and some seconds to Atlanta for Holiday. It gives you a capable defender. It's like a poor man's Bullock. It gives you a capable defender at the wing, hit 37% on catch and shoot threes last year. Pretty reasonable contract at $6 million.
You think Atlanta would do that?
3 seconds, maybe.
I mean, we talk about, you said 3 seconds. You would do that?
Would I do that, or would they do that?
You.
How long is Doc going to be here for?
I think 3 seconds is a lot.
It is a lot. I mean, they just got him. I don't know if they would do it for 2 seconds, though. That's the thing. Because, I mean, Furk, it's just, I wouldn't want to give, and this gives you a nice little gauge on Thibault. I don't think I would want to give Thibault away for Justin Holiday. He's 33. I think he's 33. I just don't see that. That's not a good enough return for me for Thibault, to be honest with you. I think we could do better with Thibault.
Interesting.
Yeah, what you do Thibault for Justin Holiday?
No, you the anti-Thibault guy, not me.
I'm anti-Thibault.
I think we swayed you back into being a Thibault fan.
I'm on the fence. I'm on the Thibault fence. I'm gonna make it sure the Thibault fence. It's gonna be me on it. Okay. I even if I don't like him, I think we could do better than that. I think he has more value. I think there are teams that want him. I don't think we're at this point. If we got through draft night without trading him, I don't think we're just going to give him away for a Justin Holiday now. If we're going to package Thibault, I'd rather package him for then it goes into the other guys, the ones you do. I think Pat Bev's going to be bought out probably in season. I don't think you need to trade for him. I would do Thibault and Furk for Bullock. I think that'd be a good 2-for-1. I think we're ready to win now with him. Josh Hart's got a pretty good contract. He's locked up for 2 more years at $12-13 million. His catch and shoot three is okay. It's 34% last year. Burks and Beasley are pretty close for me. Comes down to money, I'd go Burks because he makes 10 and Beasley makes like 15. But Beasley, I looked that up. I saw this on Twitter. Shot almost 11 catch and shoot threes per 40 minutes last year and hit 38%, which is pretty good. That's a high.
That's all they had Malik doing was catch and shoot.
Oh, that's it. That's probably what you do for us. I mean, that's pretty good then. So 38%, that's a pretty high. That's nice for that many that catch and shoots. Burks was no slouch. He shot 42% on his catch and shoots last year. I think he shot like 4.1 per 40 minutes last year. The same guy posted that.
He played a different role with the Knicks too. I mean, he has some primary ball handling responsibilities too.
Yeah, you can use him as that too, right? So I mean, like
not that he would do that with us, but he did it.
No, that would definitely cut into, I guess, what Shake's minutes. So that would be tough on Shake, but it wouldn't really be the wing we're looking for. But if we're just looking for a guy who can shoot off the bench, then Burks could be that. He makes 10. He makes 5 less than Beasley. So, I mean, we'd have to wait, I think, to trade for all those guys. I know Beasley, Burks, Bev, and the only guys we would have to wait for, I think, are Bullock and Hart because they weren't traded. But I love most of these guys. I like like you said, they're all pretty similar because we have a type. So, I think if you do one of these kind of deals for one of those guys, I think our team's pretty much good to go outside of a Harris trade coming out of left field. I'm still heartbroken. Royce O'Neal got traded. I really would have loved to require him, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, based on everything I read, like last week when the whole reports came out about Harden signing his deal, everyone said the Sixers are not done yet. So that's been a big thing. Everyone keeps saying that the Sixers are not done yet. It was the Stein line. Mark Stein said that we're not done, and a couple other reporters said that too. So obviously something's in the works still. But you guys talk about trading for a 3-and-D type guy. Some of our fans are saying not to do that because of what they're seeing in Summer League. So we're going to go to our next segment here. So the Sixers finished up the Salt Lake City Summer League games and are currently in Vegas. So the questions are, what are your thoughts from what you've seen so far? Are there any guys standing out? Because some of our fans say that we don't need to trade for a 3-and-D guy because we got him from Arkansas, Isaiah Joe, who's tearing up the Summer League so far. If you look at his 3-point percentage, but just curious what's standing out to you guys so far.
Go ahead, Teja.
Let me go first, Eric. I think Paul Reed did exactly what we needed him to do. 17-11 in Salt Lake City, not playing in Vegas, rightfully so. I think he proved. I think he is what we want him to be and develop into. He had a couple threes too. Isaiah Joe, I think, is a legit sharpshooter. He's 16 of 29 from 3. If we did do a 2-for-1 swap for Furk, that would be, I think, who would replace whatever's left for the Furk minutes. Is he in a rotation guy? I don't know. I think he needs to be developed, though. I think what his skill set is, I think, is worthy of development, and I think we need to see if he can crack the rotation. Do you think he can crack the rotation, Eric? Is the question.
I think Joe has a shot to crack the rotation. It's just if he does, maybe Furk and Shake. Somebody's going to have to, not be in that rotation. I think he's, just from what I've seen in the Summer League, I think he's earned himself a shot just as much as those guys have.
Yeah.
I think he's earned that. So I expect he would get some look. I don't know how it will look, but I do Bleav that he'll get a chance. Whether it's early in, preseason games or early in the season, I do Bleav that he'll get a shot this coming season. And we'll see how he performs. I think that Paul Reed and Joe are the two guys that I feel that have increased their chances of, Reed, I think he's, confirmed solid minutes. I don't know the particular role, or being the guy that they kind of trust a little more. And like I said, Joe, I think with team as is, it'll come down. I Bleav it'll eventually come down to Ferk and Shake and maybe Joe as maybe that 9th or 10th guy that you kind of look at as that first guy off the bench between those three. I mean, I think it's an open competition for those three right now. Who would be the first guy that would get the look? Springer. I'm not certain. He's always got to remember how young he is.
Yeah.
But the thing that was kind of interesting to me is, I've kind of maybe envisioned him being more of a primary ball handler. But we've been having Cassius do that, which is, Cassius is really good at doing that. And Springer was being used more as a scorer. So I think that's how they kind of view him, more of a scoring guy that could give you a punch off the bench. And that's kind of, from what I've seen, how I think they envision him. If that's the case, it's going to be tough for him to get in the rotation because
he's got his work cut out for him if that's his role.
Yeah, if that's his role. And even if he's a primary ball handler, it's going to be tough with not even Maxey, but James. You know what I'm saying? Just in general. So
and Melton.
Yeah, unless he just comes and he's better than those other guys that we talked about that's fighting for the 9, 10, 11 role. If he comes in and he has a better Kent than those guys, then maybe I see it. I just think that those guys are probably better fits for roles, specific roles than he is right now.
Yeah, it's tough because you got the 4 guys we just mentioned. He's not a better scorer than Shake, and he's not a better shooter than Joe. So that's hard. That's really hard for him.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He could be a better scorer than Shake. We don't know. I mean, to me, if that's how they're playing them, I think that's how they view him. But I wouldn't necessarily go and say Shake's a better scorer. I wouldn't necessarily.
He's more polished because he's older. And he's got more
he has a little more experience. But I would need to see more of Springer to really just say that with so much confidence.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Charles Bassey so far? Because I think he actually looked pretty solid in that 5 role. But do you think he looks good enough to be our backup 5 so far, or you guys see more?
I like him. I like him.
Guy.
No, I like him. I just think that he's it would probably be better for your 3rd big right now. I still think you need the veteran big, and I think that he's a guy that I think can get an opportunity to play, but I still think that you need more of a veteran experience to deal with, the teams and when you're playing and making adjustments, and just when the teams throw different things at you, you have someone that's kind of been there before. But I think
when Joel's out,
and you kind of still need to give him a little burn, and I think he can get that throughout the season as time goes on. But I would say he probably needs to be a 3rd guy.
Mm-hmm. So do we think that Paul Reed's more of like a backup 4? Because people still think he's that's the thing. The first game, he was the 4 to Bassey playing 5. When we first came out there. But people still want him to be our backup 5 for MB, which if make any sense to me. If he's a 4 in summer league, he's not going to be.
That's why I think that we need more of a 5 than a 4, because I think that Reed is a guy that can play a little both. depending on who the opponent is.
Matchup, yeah.
So that's why I still say that the 5, even if Paul is getting those minutes, I still think you need a more veteran guy at the 5 position, because I think that if you can play some Paul Reed at some 4, you still have obviously Tobias and PJ that can play the 4 too. So, even Danuel House can play some 4.
In house, yeah.
Based on, so I think it's still more of the 5 position. I see him getting more minutes at the 5, even though he may be able to play some 4. If he's going to play consistently, I think it will be at the 5 position.
Because then if he does play backup 4, who's playing backup 5 then?
Yeah.
Bassey full-time backup 5? I just don't see that.
Yeah, I don't think that they'll play him at 4 alone with a backup 5.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Even more so, yeah.
Yeah, and like we mentioned last week, there's a lot of available veteran bigs out there right now. So
yeah,
I think we're letting things play out, and then we'll probably see what's available by the time season rolls around. So
yeah,
bringing Dwight back or bringing Boogie Cousins. Boogie Cousins would be fun to have. I've always been a DeMarcus Cousins fan. I mean, it'd be nice to have Boogie in the house.
Yeah.
He had a stint with Morey in Houston, though, didn't he?
No, that was after him, because that was right around that time Harden wanted to get out. Remember when Cousins said, we only want players who want to be here. We want players who want to be here, and Morey's already gone by that point.
Okay, so they just miss each other.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our next topic here, so with the moves made so far, obviously we know we're not done yet, or we think we're not done yet with the moves that we've made so far. But where have you seen our team improving the most? So the incoming guys we've seen that have come in, we have Trevlon Queen, DeAnthony Melton, Danuel House, PJ Tucker. Outgoing, Danny Green, DeAndre Jordan, and Paul Millsap are the outgoing guys. So of the moves we've made this offseason, where have you seen our team kind of improve the most?
I just think that the depth, versatility, depth, and defensive versatility and depth that you brought in, I think you addressed that. Guys that have proven to be able to contribute, and that they can all succeed in reserve roles. And some have stepped in and started and did well. So I think that right there, you've addressed that. I mean, you obviously lost some size, but I think you addressed your wing depth and wing defense and wing spot up catch and shoot.
Yeah. Teja, where I know going into the offseason, you were big on bringing in that dog presence and kind of that hustler types, and I think we definitely got at least 2 of those types coming.
Yeah, no, I think so. So I think Millsap and Jordan are addition by subtraction. Queen's more of a developmental player. So we really lost Green and added House, Tucker, and Melton. We got more athletic with Melton, and Eric hit on that a few times. We got versatility with all 3 of them. Melton, House, and Tucker can guard 3 positions each. Melton can switch on 3s, not stay on them all game, but he can switch on them because of his length. And then House and Tucker are incredibly versatile defenders. All 3 guys can hit 3s. They're all got a little dog in them, some more than others. I think we got stronger overall too. Melton might be our most athletic player now. If not, he's up there. Improved shooting, improved versatility, flexibility with lineups and rotations. Guys that can rebound. Melton's known as maybe one of the, if not the best rebounding guard in the league. Green could play D and he can hit 3s, not just corner 3s. I looked at his shot chart recently from last year. With Tucker, we got a better rebounder. And Tucker's really relegated to the corner 3s, but he's a pretty efficient paint scorer too. Not that, you put him in the paint and want him to score, but that's something that Green just couldn't do. Like Green was a corner 3 guy, and that was a corner 3 or 3 on top of the key, and that was pretty much it. Same goes for House. House can hit the corner 3, and he can score a little bit in the paint. I think I saw that House had more made shots in the paint than Green even had attempted last year. So pretty impressive. Or it depends which way you think about it. Green, and it's interesting too, Green just didn't spend any time in the paint, rightfully so. And then poor guy, go figure, look where he got hurt in the paint because probably he wanted to save his legs for just corner threes and whatever energy he had left for defense. But yeah, I think we got stronger, better rebounding and more versatility.
Yeah, I saw that shot chart too. That was the thing, kind of Green shot pretty much everywhere on the court besides the paint. Whereas Tucker, it's kind of all over the place, but it's mainly the spots and then the corners and then like in the
corner and paint.
Yeah.
Same with House too, except he had a little more like, elbow going on there.
Mm-hmm.
A little more on the wings, but
I saw something the other day. It's, fans, everyone's got an opinion right online, but someone was saying, well, Sixers fans shouldn't be as excited about the Danuel House pickup because Danuel House was a free agent pretty much all last year when Utah was signed him to a 10-day contract. Because we're getting a guy who's a free agent during the season, and all of Sixers fans are excited about that. I don't get that. I forgot where I saw it. I was on Twitter somewhere, but what do you say?
I think that his situation was different because he was with Houston, and Houston just totally went younger and went in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was a free agent not because of his play, more so because of the direction the team was going in. Mm-hmm. And if you look at their team, they have a lot of guys that was kind of like him. So, why kind of have him around if you're going to go a different direction as far as playing guys. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the case for him. And you see he was picked up and had success and was on the team in the playoffs and playing. Yeah. So that's, to me, isn't a guy that's just a, guy that don't have.
He got in bubble trouble too. He brought a girl into his room.
Yeah,
that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
He got in trouble. He got in trouble in the house.
Yeah. He got caught.
That's a good way to put it because damn right, he probably was not the only one. Let's be honest here, man. Come on.
He got caught. Yeah.
Another reason I don't agree with that too is because people said similar things. I know it's not the exact same situation, but everyone criticized our Drummond pickup because he was like, oh man, he was a joke on the Lakers, and now he's like your best free agent acquisition. Drummond had a great season with us, and then that's a guy that a lot of teams and a lot of fans wanted this offseason because of the way he played with us last year. So you know what? Let people say what they want, and then when the guy turns his season around, everyone's all over his jock afterwards. So, I don't care about that. He actually had a really good end of the season with Utah.
Yeah, he did.
So,
and next year, people are going to look at with the 1 year left in his contract and be like, "Wow, he's getting paid that much." That's a steal.
Yeah, I agree. I think people need something to talk about.
Yeah, and also it's just I'm not going to say Philadelphia fans, but a lot of Philadelphia fans, they're more critical in the beginning.
You can't see where they're coming from. I mean, as far as I can see where people are not excited as Teja is about him. That's a fair kind of.
I did want him before we signed him, so yeah.
That's a fair statement. I just think that he's I'm probably not as excited as Teja.
So what you're saying, Eric,
but I'm more excited than the people that are being negative.
so what you're saying, Eric, is that I shouldn't turn on my Simmons jerseys to House.
No, I'm just saying, I get that he's
on my 25.
He's a guy that fits a role for us.
Mm-hmm.
To say that maybe he's a guy that, he seals our championship.
No,
that's tough. But I think that he's a guy that will help us. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he was playing big. I hate to bring up the word Houston, but he was playing big minutes for a team and starting for a team with championship aspirations.
Yeah,
on a stacked Houston team. So. Why he can't do that for us?
I've known him since he was in college. Now he's a pro, and he can help a team, and he can help us win. From that standpoint, he's very helpful. But a lot of times when people think of free agents, they think of the big splash.
Yeah,
I don't think he's necessarily a big splash, but he's a guy that can definitely help us.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the biggest free agent acquisition this year? It was Brunson, right? Because everyone else stayed, right?
That was a trade, though. That wasn't a free agent acquisition.
No, they signed him. They signed him.
He's a free agent.
It was a free agent. That wasn't a trade.
Yeah, apparently he didn't give it opportunity. He left right away.
Even if it's a trade and signed, it's still a free agent.
Yeah,
that's it though, right? Everyone else stayed, right? He was the biggest free agent signing.
Unless Aiden, we'll see what happens with Aiden.
That's true. Well, those rumors are swirling. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and also read that okay, I was thinking of Brogdon. I keep getting Brunson and Brogdon mixed up. But yeah, did you guys see that the Brogdon stuff? They haven't even done the physical yet with that whole thing. So they're saying there might be a snag in that whole process.
We'll see.
I read that yesterday, but then I saw they did their dual press conference with Danuel Gallinari today, so maybe they did it finally.
Oh, okay. Well, that was last night when I read that tweet that there was.
Yeah, then I saw.
I would think if that was the case, I think it would be a bigger deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see.
But yeah, no, Teja's a big Danuel House fan. Teja hasn't played a small ball 5 for us.
Yeah,
I don't have anything. I have that. I don't have that.
On your clipboard, you got that. Okay,
I got them penciled in on my roster. Yeah,
your different lineups. Your small ball line, you got him at 5.
I mean, look, depending on the matchup, he could. Who's our backup 5 right now?
Well, I mean, Paul Reed or Bassi.
Yeah, okay. I
Paul
bet
Reed,
you.
Paul Reed's
You want to put let's see on practice floor, Paul Reed at 5. Danuel House can man up Paul Reed at the 5.
I mean, I'd love to watch that, but I mean, Paul Reed's towers over him and at his 6'9", and now the House is 6'6".
I mean, those are just inches unless you could use it. You know what I mean? Like that's fine.
Hey, the guy's stacking on pounds this offseason.
Yeah, he's stacking on pounds.
He can jump higher too.
Yeah, he can.
He ain't no house though. Right now, he's like an apartment complex.
Oh man! All right, so our final topic before we get out of here tonight. So we've talked about kind of how free agents don't generally choose to come to Philadelphia. So it's always a rarity when you hear guys saying they want to come to Philly. But on Twitter last week, we saw free agent forward Markieff Morris respond to a fan about coming to the Sixers, and he responded, "quote Been wanting to for a while now." So, question: would the Philadelphia native be a good fit with the 76ers?
Yes. I like him. I like Twin. I think he can be helpful, and he wants to be in Philly. He's a Philly guy, so you benefit from that.
You take away minutes from Danuel House, though.
I'm not into who gonna get the minutes. I just think he could be helpful.
Now, I think he would take away Niang's minutes, but I think he would take away.
It's not up to me to decide who's losing minutes, but yeah, he can be helpful.
Well, I think we have too many guys on the roster anyway. So, I mean, if we did one of those crazy Gordon or 3-for-1 deals, and like let's say Niang's included in one of those to get his salary for matching purposes, absolutely. Keith would be a great cheap if he signed for vet min to save $1 million or $2 million on going from Niang to him. I'd be all for that. Then again, like you said, he wants to be here too, and I love. But we talked about the whole no one comes to Philly thing. Look at this offseason, though. You had a guy who chose $15 million less to stay in Philly, who forced his way out of Brooklyn to come to Philly, and Tucker, who left Miami, which was a great heat culture situation, to come here. So, I mean, they're not the biggest name guys, but no one really left except for Brunson, who went to his dad.
You can't count a guy that's already on the roster as coming to Philly. He's already in Philly.
Who, Harden?
Yes.
No, but I'm saying this year, though, has been a little different.
I get what you're saying, but,
Okay, fine. Tucker wanted to come here, though. Tucker had a bunch of suitors and left Miami to come here for pretty much the same money. I don't know how many people wanted House, but I think he wanted to be here.
Tucker was a relationship driven too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard he has like a business plans for out here for Philadelphia too. So
and you, the GM, player, that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to have that because players like Doc, and it seems like players that have played for Morey, for the most part, like Morey. So it's good to have two guys like that who are, so big in our what we do in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Be some people that people want to play for. That's a good thing to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's star power too with Harden and Embiid too. I mean, that kind of that's bringing in the guys to sign for less to come in.
Yeah.
And actually, I did read before we came on today that there might be a kind of a tampering situation going on.
Great.
Where I think that they're saying that Tucker being in talks with Philadelphia before free agency when it got underway was kind of is something that might be investigated. Which I don't know. I think a lot of teams are talking to players beforehand. Now, if you want to look at the Michael Rubin situation,
that's always happened, and that will always continue to happen.
Yeah.
Well, Rubin wasn't with the organization at that point.
We stepped down.
Listen to me. That will always happen. All you got to do is
caught.
All you got to do is if you have a guy that have an agent that has a player on your team, and he happens to have a free agent, he's allowed to speak to the team because he has a current player. It'll always happen.
Yeah.
We don't know what those conversations are all about. It happens all the time.
And Tucker
from all these sources and reports, that's what's kind of throwing things out there. If somebody's running their mouth, and we don't really know if whoever running their mouth is coming from inside the team. It could be coming from a competing team.
Yeah, Miami.
In most cases, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Miami's bitter. They lost their guy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing
Miami just lost a pick for the same thing.
Yeah. I know. Look who's crying. It's hilarious.
That probably plays into it. We got punished for it. We want other team to get punished for it. That's definitely playing into that, which I get.
I know they said the Knicks probably lose a second round pick too.
For Brunson?
Yeah, I mean, you hired his dad. You hired Rick. So, I mean, you think Rick's not going to talk to his son? Maybe
I know. That's crazy, right? That's really weird. There's got to be family rules for that. Because I mean,
look, what you gonna say? Don't talk to your son about free agency.
It's his kid talking. Forget about free agency in NBA. It's a kid talking to his dad about job opportunities.
Yes,
make it really vague.
We know that's going to happen, but I don't know how you can punish him for that. I don't know.
I know. I can't have dinner with my son. I can't ask him how the job prospects are looking.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see what happens, because they said that Tucker and Harden, they have deals going on, and they said that might be with Fanatics and Michael Rubin, who was our president with the Sixers. So maybe they're saying that the Harden taking the discount, he's going to make up for it in kind of deals that he's getting from Fanatics and other stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of ties together, and if the NBA would consider that tampering, because Rubin was a part of the organization. Then a week later, he steps down, free agency starts. I mean, I don't know if they can even do that, but
good luck.
Good luck finding that out.
I bet you Rubin's got great lawyers too.
Finding those conversations out.
Yeah.
We didn't have a conversation until I resigned.
Yeah.
Yep.
The first time we had a conversation about it was at my party in the Hamptons. That was that way after.
Yeah.
But all right, fellas, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Bleav In 76ers, presented by BetOnline. We'll see you guys next week as we'll see. We're still waiting on things to happen, so we got to see the Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving stuff to happen, and then Harden hopefully signs his deal. Then maybe everything else, all the other trades and transactions can happen at that point. So,
yep, nice.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
All right, take it easy,
guys.